Hey, you. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Be sure to subscribe to Layers to Love on your favorite podcast platform. Let's get into it. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
So this episode, we are going to discuss We Are Family.
I got all my sisters with me.
So, since we are letting everyone get to know us, let's just go ahead and break down our family dynamics and just the basics of the household that we came from. So, Kaisha, let's start us off.
Family. Myself personally, I grew up with my mother, stepdad, half brother, and me.
For me, it was I was raised by my aunt, who was like my mother, and her two sons are technically my cousins, but they're like my brothers. So it was me, my aunt, and my two older brothers.
I grew up with my mom, my stepdad, and my half brother and sister.
So, I grew up with I come from a large family. I'm the baby of 11. I grew up with my stepfather, and I went to my biological father every other weekend, and that was our household coming up. So, with that being said, all of our families are different. Would you view your family as being functional or dysfunctional?
Is there a such thing as a functional family?
Right.
Will anybody say they have a functional family?
Listen, I want to meet that person.
Did you grow up in a functional family?
No, absolutely not. We put my mom used to say, we put the D in dysfunction. That was her thing. We was very just
Is that a such thing? Like, never heard of it.
So did you grow up in a dysfunctional
no.
or functional family?
Absolutely not. You met my mother. And my brother. You met my family. Get out of here.
Okay, I didn't either. It was very dysfunctional.
What about you, Kai? Your mother is right here, by the way.
Same thing.
Tell the truth, child, and shame.
We're going to be mindful of how you address the household, and your mother's sitting right there. I will smile. Don't you make me.
My mama not that
Tell the
mama.
truth and shame the
You're not
devil.
dysfunctional. That's good.
Oh, you're not dysfunctional?
Don't listen to them lies. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. I claim mine.
I think it's cool that people are comfortable saying that they're from a dysfunctional family, because there's a lot of shame that comes with it. You know, people grow up, they become adults, and they don't mess with their family at all because they're so dysfunctional. But, you know, when you do have a dysfunctional family, because everyone has that individual in their family. Like I said, I come from a large family, and I do have some siblings that they're not as close as other siblings. Me being the baby, I am a spoiled brat. I will admit that. And I am close to everyone. I have my own individual relationships with all of my siblings, but I'm also mindful that with some siblings, they were closer than what we are.
Right.
You know, so they're in the house, they're fighting over clothes, fighting over, you know, their role in the family. Like, are you mommy's favorite? Are you dad's favorite? Just fighting over those dynamics. And, you know, it's just normal. It's just normal in the family.
You didn't have that either, did you?
No.
Right. I'm like, what is that like? Like, you see it in TV shows. But
Yeah, you do.
I've never had anything
You
like
do,
that.
and you know it was nice, and I credit my mother completely to the dynamics of our family, because she was all about the unity of our family. And I'll tell you something funny. Once two of my sisters wasn't speaking, and we used to come to North Carolina to my sister's house, like the week of Thanksgiving was around the time everybody was off, and we would do our like little reunion, our dinner, and they would come down, and my two siblings would be like, hey girl, I missed you. And they would hug each other, and my mom would be like, oh yeah, go home, wouldn't say nothing to each other. But you was not doing that in front of my mom. Like, she was not having it.
Yeah, that sounds dysfunctional.
Right. She just wasn't having it. She wasn't. And then also too with me, I grew up with during an era where there was addiction, but it was very common to me because, you know, during that era and time in the 80s, like it was the big crack pandemic, and I wasn't really ashamed of my brother being on drugs because where my brothers and my sisters was on drugs. My girlfriend's father was on drugs. My other girlfriend's mom was on drugs. So, like, as kids, you couldn't be like, your mom's a crackhead. They'd be like, I know.
And so is yours.
so is your brother. Like, that didn't phase us.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because
Wow.
it was just the dysfunction that was very common.
The
to all of us.
dysfunction was function.
Functional dysfunction.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Because
Wow.
I wasn't ashamed of the dysfunction because I found it to be a little hilarious.
Right. And it is hilarious.
You get used to it.
Yeah. And you start to wonder about other people's families. Like, y'all don't do this? Y'all don't eat in front of the TV?
Right.
Y'all really eat at the table?
Right.
Yeah, we
I
didn't
ain't
do
got,
that.
ain't got that either.
Right. That, you know what? That's funny that you say that. That's funny that you say that. So my daughter's family, they eat together. They eat together at the table. And very loving family. They all sit together at the table. But that was different. That was different for me. And another thing, like they sit at the table and eat, they don't really talk.
What?
So I'm just sitting there looking at them. And you know that, like my daughter, she's like, this is her thing. I love that they sit together.
Wow.
One was on the chair, one was on the chair, one was on the couch, one was in front of the TV. Like you said,
Different
Karen,
That's how
like,
we grew up.
Just eating at different times.
No. We ate in the kitchen. Our parents ate in front of the TV. They did not eat with us, and we would hurry up and eat so we could go and watch what was on TV.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was hiding food. It was bad
I got you.
because I didn't like meat then
Stuff is
either.
clicking.
So
Just a clicking in the
Right, right.
yeah.
But you
So
know
you
what?
understand
A lot of
why?
stuff.
How come
A
I
lot
let
of
my
stuff.
kids eat in the living room with us, with me?
That's funny that you do that. And your parents ate
Yeah.
in the living room. It's now that we're moms. Like you think about it, like did you mimic your mom's parenting style, like the way you were raised in that household? Like did you mimic it?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I made a conscious decision to do the opposite of whatever my mom did because I didn't like what she did. So I made a conscious decision to do everything different. There was some stuff that I mimicked because I didn't know what the opposite of that would be. But for the most part, like that whole eating, all of us eating in front of the TV, I never forced my kids to eat stuff. If they said they didn't like it, they didn't like it. I didn't make them eat it. I used to remember that.
Must be nice.
Yeah, remember when I just said that my father would eat and my mother would eat in the living room, we would eat in the kitchen, and I was saying I was hiding food. I used to put food under under the towel and wait. And give it to the dog because I didn't like certain foods and they would make me eat it, or you would get beaten and or the food would sit there and you would sit to the table, and then if I sat there long enough, I would go to bed and get up the next day, that
Still
same
there.
food. So I never did that to my kids.
Yeah, I experienced that with my dad. My mom didn't do that to me, but my dad, he was like, sit at the table and eat. And I didn't like to eat. Like my mom knew that about me. I didn't like to eat. I didn't like a lot of food. I sat there. I fell asleep. And the next day my mom found out like that was just the way my dad disciplined, and my mom wasn't having it because she knew I didn't eat. Like she wouldn't give me a lot of food. She would give me like one broccoli, one chicken tender, a couple of things of rice, and I would eat that. She told me that the pediatrician told her it could be overwhelming to me to see all that food on the plate. So if I want more, then give her more. But if you don't eat it, then I don't know why we torture our kids. Like you better sit there and eat.
I don't do that. And you just said that. You just made a point. It was discipline for him.
Yeah.
Why does food have to be about discipline?
And that's why so many people have issues with
And that's
food.
what
It's
happened
an
to me.
unhealthy relationship
I
with food.
learned that if I didn't eat everything on the plate, I was doing something wrong, and it kind of Jedi mind tricked me. So even when I'm full, I still eat everything that's on the plate. So because
So you don't be wasting food.
it's crazy.
I'm trying to be serious, but when you was like Jedi mind, all I could think of is a lightsaber. Because you guys know I love Star Wars.
But I never did that to y'all, did I? No.
I was a picky eater anyway. So I mean, my other family members may have done that, but not you.
I'm
What's up,
That's
Erica?
another episode.
What's up, Erica? What you got?
Oh, you asked me my parenting style. Is it like my mom's? Yeah, I don't have any kids, but my cat and my dog listen. Because if I said it, I said it. And you better listen the first time. So the answer to that question is yes.
Did you parent like your mother?
I'm gonna say yes and no.
Your mama right here, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So
Because I know my mess.
I think some of the things that I thought should have been different growing up, I tried to work around it and try to do it my way, or
Right.
try to find another way to do it. But some stuff by default, I just do with my kid that she did. Like she was very, and this is not dysfunction, but she was very affectionate.
Mm-hmm.
So she was very affectionate towards me, and I want to say my brother too.
I was.
I just didn't see it because he was
Always.
7 years older than me, so he was like out the door
Gotcha.
when I was able to understand what was going on. So I don't know what their relationship was all the way because I was younger. I am younger, but as far as my son, like I'm super huggy, kiss, and I want you to know that I love you.
Right.
But he's the same way, though, naturally.
Yeah.
Makai.
It's just
Yeah.
And the reason why I was very affectionate is because no one ever touched us. In my household, there was no hugging, there was no kissing. No one ever said, I love you. Ever. And I always wondered. So you couple that with some other stuff that I experienced as a child, I was determined that my kids were going to know that they, and I would say it all the time and I would talk to them about it. Am I making you feel this?
right.
I had that kind of relationship.
That's so
with
nice.
I think that's so. With me, I will say I mimicked my mother's parenting style. I would say I definitely did that. My mom was just a dope person. She was just such a loving and dope being. And I always strived, and I'll tell anybody, if I could be a fourth of this woman, then I'm batting 100. I didn't do everything right. She didn't do everything right. I know my mom was the type of person that she would kind of lock you in. I know one time I was just like, Ma, I want to move, and she was just like, don't move, because you don't need to go there. She would kind of shelter us. And one time I needed her for something, and she threw that up in my face. Like, I told you if you would have left, then you did. And I was like, come on. And as we got older, I let her know how that felt. And she was like, I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry that I would talk you guys out of doing stuff. And me and my sister used to joke all the time. My sister would do something and we just wouldn't tell my mom. Yeah. So my mom pledged. My sister was pledging in her bike club, and she had to ride her bike to, like, I think she went to New Mexico or something like that. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, I called your sister, she's not picking up. I was like, I don't know where she is. She was like, you lying. You knew where she is. I knew where she was. But my sister was like, don't tell my mom. My mama put her mouth on me. I'm going to crash my bike. Mm-hmm. My mom was just that type of person. But, she was a dope being. So did I mimic her parenting style? Yes. Yeah. And then as I got older, I kind of pulled back. Like with my kids, if they say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm open to it. Like I wouldn't dare tell my mom I was going out or I wasn't coming home. But my kids do that to me. They're comfortable doing that. So I'm glad that I did mimic her love, but not her being overbearing and overprotective at some things.
I was overprotective. And
I just think that that's natural for it to be. But we make mistakes. We live and learn in those mistakes, and I think it has a lot to do with where we're raised as a family. So now that you just got a glimpse into our background, we'll give you some future episodes about our personal families and how that is going. But other than that, it's a wrap. So bye.
Bye.
Hey, you. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you've been inspired by today's episode and want to hear more, be sure to subscribe to Layers to Love on your favorite podcast platform. Since we are in the early stages of Layers to Love, we would appreciate it if you would share the podcast with your friends and family. Just simply click the episode and send it, which can help us reach more listeners and build a supportive community. Until the next episode, take care.